All right, so Reverend Jesse Jackson apparently was not the creator of the term African American back in 1988. He wasn't. Because apparently in 1782, this was printed in a newspaper in Philadelphia. And it says, two sermons written by the African American on the capture of Lord, what did I say, Cornwallis, to be sold by, these are people selling the sermons, right? You know me. I'm not putting this mess on my screen unless I already did the research. And this quote-unquote African American is not a secret. Philadelphia at the time was a pretty decent-sized city. However, they didn't have too many free people of color running around teaching sermons. Thus, intro Mr. Absalom Jones, another Reverend, allegedly born into slavery, had to beg to get his wife and kid out of slavery, or borrow or take up donations, or whatever he determined. I believe the term they used was he took up donations to get his wife and child out of slavery. Then he did some amazing things. If you're not familiar with Absalom Jones, let me enlighten you. He is the founder of the Free African Society that was based out of Philadelphia. But not just that. He was also the co-founder of the African Episcopal Church located in Philadelphia. Oh, FYI, this is another sermon. See, the original newspaper just mentioned that somebody had written two sermons. We know for a fact that it was Absalom Jones. There was no other trusted bootlicker around at the time who was willing to indoctrinate his people. This here is that original sermon by an African American. And then this sermon is much later, 1808. You see, after the Revolutionary War, you had a bunch of free people of color running around. And apparently, they started to migrate up towards Pennsylvania into Philadelphia, and this scared the shit out of people. Rightly so. So what ended up happening, some group of people devised a plan they needed some form of structure for these colored people. And that structure comes in no other form than, you goddamn guessed it, white Jesus. With your Rev, Absalom Jones. Mind you, like I said before, Absalom Jones is actually from Delaware. He's not African. There's no record of anything to do with his parents, but highly doubt that they were African either. I did find something interesting, though. That original guy that the sermon was actually written about, his name was Charles Cornwallis the First. That's Marcus, whatever. This one right here is his son. But the weird thing, real odd coinky-dink, is that's his mama, Jemima Tullikins Jones. Mr. Absalom took the surname Jones as an indication of his American identity. Interesting. Also very interesting to note, this person was already in Pennsylvania. In 1784, however, he was allegedly manumitted. He already had a job. And he was going to be better at inducting you into your position. It was not Reverend Jesse Jackson in 1888. It was Reverend Absalom Jones who created the term with the same goddamn agenda. Keeping them damn coloreds under control. Alright, so a quick little sidebar. Mr. Absalom Jones had already been in Philadelphia for quite some time. It's not 100% clear as to what purpose or what connection he had to this woman, but the purpose for him being there already before being manumitted was Jemima Tullochyn Jones, who used her influence with her husband, Charles Cornwallis I, to get him to allow Absalom Jones to write those sermons. Hence why that sermon that is mentioned in that newspaper article is about the trials and tribulations of Charles Cornwallis. He was very grateful to Jemima for that ability because it was ultimately the reason why he obtained his freedom and why he was the person that they utilized in order to indoctrinate and control other people through things like the African Society, a Free African Society, as well as the African Church, Episcopal Church that they had. So when he was manumitted in 1784 or 3 or whatever the year was, this is the reason why he took Jemima's maiden name, which was Jones. Ain't no coincidences in history. Just a little bonus information.